People deluded, I'm back again. Where's Dan? He's here. There he is. Technical difficulties just like us against PSG, people. Don't worry, the man's here. Unfortunately, Dan, man, big up yourself. As you lot know, people, Fridays, I'm on Dan's channel. He's on mine. This is our day. It's a shame about what we're going to discuss. Yeah, man, we're at that point as Arsenal fans, Dan, man, where we're riding high and then it's all right off, man. But we saying, how you doing, my guy?
Listen, apart from football, I'm doing good. Life's good. And do you know what? The weather's come out nice and sunny today. So after this, I'm going to go sit in some sunshine and try and relax and chill with some food, because that's the most important things in life, my bro. The things that you don't take for granted. And if I'm honest with you, Arsenal right now have done their best to put me in a bad mood. I've woke up better today than I was yesterday, DG. Let me tell you that.
I'm with you, man, in that. You know what? When we went out, obviously I was disappointed. I was gutted. I was angry. I was all of that. But I think I felt better than I actually did. Then obviously yesterday, I was probably how you're feeling today, in that, you know what? There's other things in terms of perspectives. The biggest disappointment is, the only trophies we've won is beating Real Madrid and beating City. We have to hold the banter. We all know who's in the final. We'll get onto that. But let me get your immediate thoughts while they're still relatively raw of the second leg, man. Like, what went right, if anything, what went wrong, and everything in between, my boy.
Let's go with the team. No shocks. Thought it would be that. Let's go with the start. First 10, 15. Maybe I could push it to 20. I was quite encouraged, if I'm honest with you. Felt we missed some chances. I thought Declan Rice should have done better with a header. I thought Martinelli could have done better with his shot. I know it was saved, but it was kind of straight at him. Ødegaard had an unbelievable shot, which was probably the only thing he's done in the last 6 months. And it's a world-class save. I've got to be honest with Donnarumma. It's a world-class save.
And he picked a Saka one in the second half. Had a big game.
Yeah, he was brilliant in the second half. Brilliant all game. So I'm encouraged by that. Martinelli's cooking Hakimi for the first 10, 15. Lewis Skelly, I thought, was flicking it over, man. I'm thinking, wow, we've come out fighting here, confidence.
We might have a remontada on.
Well, I wanted that. I think we all wanted that, right? And then I think within 20 minutes after that, we saw the weaknesses and how quickly it could change when Kvaratskhelia hits the post. And I'm like, phew. And that shook us. Saliba gives the ball and it's a bad pass to Kivior. Raya rolls it out to Rice. It's poor. He then fouls. A free kick happens and then boom, the tie's pretty much done with a deflected shot from Ruiz. And I'm like, that's how easy it was to kill us. And I just don't think we recovered from that goal, if I'm honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying we were poor. I'm not saying we were shambles or diabolical. The players, I think, did what they could. I don't think any of them were outstanding. I was disappointed with Thomas Partey. I was disappointed with Rice. I was disappointed in our captain again. And as much as I felt like Saka and Martinelli had started pretty well, I'm not too sure they had the best of games. I thought Saka was probably one of the better of a bad bunch, although he missed a sitter. The goal was great that he scored, but I expect him to do better with that. Timber, I thought, had probably one of the other games of the night, which I thought was probably one that could hold his head up high. The rest of the team, it weren't on it, man. And I've got worries and concerns about some of them individually, but I really am at the stage
now. Let us know, man.
Needs to end.
It's like a therapy session right now, Dan, man.
Yeah. Look, the season needs to end. Let's get it right. There's 3 games left that no one cares about. And I know that we want to win all 3, but no one's really too fussed by it because everyone's so disappointed. When I look at the individuals at the time, I'm wondering why Saliba's been bad in the last 6 or 7 games. Is it because his head's turned? I genuinely asked that question. I'm looking at the individual performances that continue from Ødegaard, and I'm worried about that. I don't feel like Timber and Saka, although they are definitely up there with 2 of the better performances, are they really 100% fit? That right-hand side don't look quite right. Then I look at the scenario of Kivior thinking, is he actually going to be a centre-half that we can rely on next season? Because I think he might want to go. David Raya is moving mad in goal. It has to be said. He's putting us under pressure with his mad little flicks and roll out to the ball when players are on him. He's never in his goal. He's standing up as a centre-back. He thinks he's Steve Bold or Tony Adams half the time. So that's worrying me. Marino, as much as I like his link-up play and his work, I don't think he's got any threat whatsoever in the box. We're seeing crosses being drilled across. There's nobody there. Martinelli looks 1 minute great, next minute poor. Trossard's coming on as a sub and showing a little bit of impact that when he starts, he can't do it. And then I come quickly to the manager because I felt it was a disgrace the other night. Not just his comments after the game, which was nothing but disrespectful to PSG and the rest of the teams in this tournament. Pathetic loser, if I'm honest, has to be said. But also during the game, bruv. Like, people have said to me, what could he have done? Well, Well, do you know what?
They might not have worked, but you could have tried something.
Try. Please try. Do something. Well, I did do something. I bought on a light for light left back and a light for light left winger. Right, try something different. Well, I bought on 2 fullbacks we needed to score. So we've got 6 defensive-minded players and we've got to score 2 goals. So the only attackers on the pitch are Saka and Martinelli and Martin Odegaard, who somehow still stayed on the pitch. That's it. Marino, you could say, is attacking because of where he's playing, but he wasn't attacking in the game. He was dropping deep. So we're really and truly trying to score 2 goals at least just to keep the game going. And we're bringing on 2 fullbacks. Ethan Nwaneri nowhere to be seen. No one knows what he's done wrong. No one knows where he is. The Odegaard's stinking out the gaff. Zinchenko's there if you want to bring him on. Tierney's there if you want to overlap and put some crosses in. Tierney's there if you want to bring him at left back and ask Lewis Skelly to go into the 8 role. Nothing. Over 2 legs, we saw nothing, bruv. And that to me shows that we've got naivety in the manager, a manager that's stubborn, a manager that either doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't want to take risks in that game. And you ain't going to win nothing with a manager like that because they're not elite. Now, people have said to me, why would you go 3 at the back? We haven't done that since COVID. Ironically, since we last won a trophy when we played that position, that formation. Try it. Try it. When Timber gets...
Nothing changes, as I always say.
Nothing changes. Timber goes down. Oh, it's got to be Ben White. Why does it have to be Ben White? Why can't it be Trossard comes on and then Martinelli goes through the centre with Marino? Or maybe you keep Martinelli wide for space and bring Trossard and gamble through the middle. Why can't you do that? Why can't you drop one of your defensive midfielders, Partey having a stinker, take him off and then bring in something with more legs like Zinchenko or maybe Lewis Skelly gets a turn in there? He didn't want to try anything, bro. And that's what worries me, is we're a manager that says, well, this is plan A. And if plan A doesn't work, I'm going to stick with plan A. I'm not going to try and make plan A better. I'm not going to change or revert to plan B or C. I'm just going to stick with plan A and work until it works. And they say, don't they? Is it Einstein that said the first sign of madness is to just keep doing the same thing even though you don't work or whatever?
And expect different results.
There we go. That's the one bit. But better put than me. I'm frustrated because I felt like if we would have got past PSG, we had a really good chance against Inter Milan. And I'm not saying like one of these, we got no chance. Of course we have a chance. We've seen
You're in a final. You've got 50% chance.
You roll the dice and you go for it. And unfortunately, we're not going to get that opportunity now, bro. So lots of things wrong, lots of question marks, lots of worries and concerns going into the new season because although I would get rid of the manager now, I know he's not going anywhere, my bro. So
we're gonna get onto the manager, man. We're gonna get onto that. I have a duty to ask you certain things. I know why I think you say, the plan A stuff and the lack of plan B. I know my own reasons as to why I agree with that comment, yeah. But I think I have a duty to ask the chat, in case they don't know where you're going with it or where I might be going with it. Why do you think there is a plan A and that's it, and there's a reluctance to change things? Is it arrogance? Is it naivety? Is it in his own way? This is what he wants to do. Does he not have that in his locker? Like, why doesn't he pivot? Because I think me and you are aligned in that we're not managers. We're armchair experts. We're not saying that these things are going to work, and we're not saying we wouldn't necessarily criticize you. If you went to if you took off one defender and we got hit, we'd obviously say that's where it happened. But I think me and you are quite aligned in a sense of, if you tried something and that happened, we'd say, you know what, fair enough. You tried a thing, it didn't work because it goes against what you've been trying before. But why do you think there's a reluctance? And it's quite predictable how 80 odd minutes on, we're going to make subs. Like, why do you think he doesn't try a plan B or have one? Because it's clearly an issue now.
4 reasons. Arrogance, believes he's better than he actually is. Stubbornness, number 2. Believes that although in the back of his mind, he probably knows he might have to change it, he's going to stick by it and stand by what he believes in. Fear. I think he's got genuine fear that if he does change it up, it might not be something that he's used to or wants to take the risk for. So therefore, he's then going to blame himself, which comes back to the arrogance and the stubbornness thing. And then lastly, PTSD. Because he tried to do something different against Man City in the last 2 years and it hasn't worked for him.
We got smoked.
So I think there's 4 words there which sum up our manager. And if I'm honest, that's going to limit us moving forward if he continues to keep those traits. Because I'm all for arrogance if you've won something. Thierry Henry is one of the most arrogant I known out there, but he could back it up, right? I'm all for being fearful and having PTSD. Learning from mistakes is great, but don't never go down that road again. Yeah. Otherwise, you're never going to pass your driving test. If you crash and you never get back in the car again, or you just sit in it, turn the engine on and off, but don't move anywhere, you're never going to get anywhere and move past your driving test, right? So for me, you have to then go and have that kind of take that risk. And then with the actual stubbornness, I actually believe that most managers have this. It's about what level of stubbornness you have. So Arsene Wenger was very stubborn. I don't
Very.
need a centre half. I don't need this defensive midfielder. I'm going to play Coquelin there. I'm going to play Song there. I'm not
We're
going to
playing
replace
attacking football
Patrick Vieira.
regardless.
Precisely. Arteta is kind of the opposite to him. You know, someone the other day, I don't know who it was, started to liken him to Arsene Wenger. I agree with that in terms of the arrogance and stubbornness, but his style of play is nothing of the sort. It's a complete opposite. I would say it's more George Graham than Arsene Wenger, and even that he's not great at.
Our biggest threat is the Partey long throws in the PSG game. I couldn't believe it. Now,
Bro,
I wanted it to work, but I was thinking, damn.
bro, I could not believe that we've reverted to
Pull it
that.
in the mixer, man. Rory, did that be proud?
Wow. Now, look, there's
Copy
nothing
that
wrong
from
with doing
Cemento.
that because you've noticed a weakness in their side. There's nothing wrong with that, doing that. But you've got to capitalize on it because otherwise it looks silly. We're doing Rory Delap throw-ins in a semi-final of a Champions League and going out. That does not look good. You do a Rory Delap throw-in in a semi-final of a Champions League and go through 3-0 with 3 set pieces, you're a genius. That's how fickle it is. That's how close it is. And this is what comes down to the arrogance and stubbornness thing, DG. When you are that, you have to get it right. Yeah, you have to. When you go and play your strongest side against Bournemouth, everyone's questioning why. When you've got PSG in a few days, you have to win. This is what I keep saying about this manager. People are saying he's taking this, he's doing that. No, I've always went to look. These are the simple reasons I don't trust in him, and it's those 4 things: arrogance, stubbornness, fear, and PTSD. They're the 4 things that he's got that I have absolutely no. I don't know how anyone can defend that. You know, if you say them 4 words, you think that's harsh about this manager. You haven't been watching this manager for 5 years. Because they are 4 things that sum him up, whether it be from the start till now, or whether the 2 of the traits have come in the last year, the last 2 years. All 4 of those things are true. And I'm not saying they're bad traits because PTSD is a positive. You can say, cool, that happened last time. Let's not do that again. Let's change.
Go down that road again, yeah.
I'm fearful of this because it didn't work last time. So I'm going to take this risk instead of that. But you can still be fearful that different risk might not work. You can be arrogant because you believe that you're good enough. And when you sit there with trophies and go, this is why I'm arrogant, because I back it up. And you can be stubborn because you believe, no, I've tried that before. It ain't working. I know this will work. There we go. Prove right. So all 4 of those things could be good traits. Unfortunately for him, they're negatives at the moment, bro.
I think you're bang on the money, man. You know, you're a genius if it works. You're an idiot if it doesn't. Unfortunately, we haven't got anything in it set in stone. I want to ask you about the players, yeah, because if I feel sorry for anyone, I do feel sorry for the players, you know. I really do, because I can criticize if they were meant to be bought for this club, if they're suitable to their roles, their ability. The one thing I can't question, though, whether I rate them or not, is how much they've wanted it. As you like, again, no excuse for Odegaard because you've been past fit, but it's clear that something's going wrong with you. You're still out there. Declan Rice is crying out for reinforcements in January. Kivior's been, as romantic as it is, he's been slapped into kind of a situation that he's not kind of built for. Timber post ACL, Saka is barely fit, all of those kind of things. I feel like if this was a job, yeah, and these were your workers, and like obviously Mikel Arteta and those above him, whoever is in charge of recruitment, I don't think they've put their best foot forward. I don't think they've helped them. I don't think we built on what we needed to build on in the summer, obviously, and being proactive in that. January, I think we signed up for certain things because we, for whatever reason, whether we tried or not, we didn't, as you know yourself, Dan, we didn't bring no one in. So that tells me indirectly you believe we have enough, regardless of how this season pans out. And I know the league went down the shitter, you know, the domestic cups, we didn't get to where we needed to go to. The Champions League provided somewhat of a shining light. And after the Madrid game, it feels like any sort of like energy and juice or whatever, it feels like it went into those 2 games, and that's kind of it. Like, do you feel sorry for the players, like regardless? Like, because I must admit I do, you know, I really feel sorry for them regardless. I know they're the ones playing and have to take responsibility, but I think they've been let down. I'll be real.
I think the fans and the players have both been let down.
Yeah, fans as well.
I'll tell you why. I saw the summer window shut and Sterling coming on deadline day, and I knew we weren't going to win anything this season. Now, a lot of people believed that it was too early to go. And you know what? At the time, maybe they were justifiable to say, at least let's see how it pans out. But I knew deep down that it was going to pan out this way. Then we got to the Saka injury on the 31st of December. I thought, oh, this is going to be tough now. But at least it's January now. We can go and bring somebody in. And on the 31st of January, when that window shut, or the 1st of December, whenever it was, I realized, yeah, I'm going to be right. We're not going to win anything here. 5 weeks later, we're out of all competitions other than the Champions League. The title's gone, the Carabao Cup's done, and the FA Cup we're out of. And then we go for the Champions League, and I'm looking at this squad. And if I'm a player and I put my fan hat off and put my player shoes on and I'm looking around me, I'm thinking, is this what you're leaving us with in the trenches? Real talk.
Tierney left wing, you know, it wasn't too long ago that was a thing.
Bruv, we're getting fired at and you're leaving me with this? I'm looking around, I'm seeing my central midfielder you bought in the summer up top. I'm looking at an 18-year-old kid at left back and one that's been begged to come on at right wing. I'm looking at Saka, who's got his hamstring hanging off, and Havertz and Co are all injured. I've got Odegaard, who's underperforming because he's clearly injured. Why are we in this mess? And you expect us to go win the Champions League like this? Now, don't get me wrong. I believed Arteta could have. I believed Arteta could have actually got us across the line. And should have, to be fair. And it's not because he's good enough and it's not because the squad's good enough. It's because he ain't got no credit in the bank, bruv. He ain't got no credit in the bank anymore to say, if we don't win this, don't matter. Go for another one. So as much as I don't blame Mikel Arteta this season solely, I blame our board and our ownership as well. I look at it scenario and think, do you know what? Whether you blame him, them, he, she, that, or the dog, or the Gunnosaurus, or whatever the hell you put the down to, yeah?
Or the Tifo.
Or the Tifo, or the fan base, or the atmosphere. We've been let down as a fan base. Arsenal Football Club have failed this season. They failed
100%.
to deliver again, and they've let down the fans who pay good money. And I found out today that fans were paying an unbelievable amount of money to go and watch that amount in Paris. We're talking thousands and thousands.
See what I'm saying?
And I hope the club hang their head in shame. I don't have the faith that they will, bruv, because I don't think the ownership are interested in winning.
We trust nothing else at this moment.
Well, look, he's got a hell of a lot of pressure put on him, and I think that's a little bit harsh, if I'm honest.
It is harsh.
Because I'm not expecting miracles. I'm expecting good things. I'm not expecting Berta to come in, give us an invincible season, and say, go win a treble. That's not that easy. Because what I'm being told is that we need to have a process. So does he get a process? Does Berta come in and
he deserves that?
Yeah, I'm saying. So how does it work? Look, I've had enough of processes, phases, and give me this time, this, that, and the third. I want to win. I feel like the team are good enough to win a trophy. Are they good enough to win a Premier League trophy or a Champions League trophy? Maybe they're not. Maybe that's a genuine conversation to have. But they're good enough to win a trophy. If Eddie Howe's Newcastle can win a trophy, yeah, and one of Manchester United or Spurs can win a trophy, Arsenal can win a trophy this season.
Palace have a chance as well.
Palace as well. Manchester City. So
yeah, in their worst season
right now, the big six are all in the final other than us, G. It's crazy.
Someone said we let the country down, man. Even though we're the last men standing in the Champions League, you know, we've probably been the worst performing team at this moment in terms of getting to a final, unfortunately.
There we go.
It's sad, man, and it's upsetting, and it's always like, ironically, you just took a sip of your juice. It's like the glass is half empty, half full. In that, despite the injuries and everything, we've got to 2 semi-finals. The league, there's no excuse, and I think the league, personally, for me, is a true mark of your performance, because over the course of 38 games, all the issues are going to be there. Now, I find myself saying the same things when we drop points or we go out of competitions. In that, I think we signed up for these things when, going back to what you said, we didn't do what we needed to do in the market. I think a lot of our draws and defeats, there's other reasons, but it looks like the players have been out of steam. Everything has to go right because there's no protagonist. We're relying on certain players that go through, you know, like the purple patches. Saka's the only one you expect him to do it for the majority of it. Obviously, you mentioned Martinelli, you know, Martinelli and Trossard, as much as I don't think they're terrible players, if we're still relying on them to make the difference in terms of goals where in issues, you've got Saka where there's 5-6 players locking him up, and he should have scored 2 and he did score, but you've got nobody else. Obviously, you mentioned Mikel Arteta, which I agree with, in the in-game solutions. And actually, I think was, you know, I would also say dropping points from winning positions, but actually as well, where I look at it as well, there's another thing. It's that I look at set pieces. You look at the goals we've conceded from set pieces and dead balls. That's actually what killed us in the second leg. Like, it was fine margins. That's what the Champions League's about. Like, unfortunately, Rice has conceded that free kick. Other players have switched off. We've had 3 opportunities and we've done whatever. I guess the point I'm making is, it feels like I'm watching the same movie and expecting a different ending, which, as me and you know, if we both put a DVD on and we're both watching the same movie, if we expect something different, me and you are probably lunatics. Like, if nothing changes, nothing kind of changes. And I want to ask you, do you feel there's two, I know you hate projects and processes and everything, bro, but do you think there's like two projects, going on at once? And what I mean by that is, obviously Arteta is the Arsenal manager, but if we just look at him isolated, yeah, this is his second season being in the Champions League, as a manager, second time he's been in the champs, good, bad, and the ugly. And then obviously you bring in Arsenal Football Club, in which he's intertwined. Me and you, we all want silverware. We'll big up Arteta when he does well, criticize him when it goes left. Do you think there's like 2 projects in one, in that we're trying to develop Arteta as a manager and obviously trying to get over the line as a football club?
That's not an opinion, that's a fact. So what you've just said is absolute facts. Whether you want to try and agree or disagree with that, nothing you've said there is factually incorrect. Mikel Arteta is building a CV for himself.
Yeah.
What Arsenal are doing, they're helping him do that, right? So he is trying to build his first managerial career CV. It's a good start because he won an FA Cup, but 5 years later, he's been building teams and trying to progress a team to win a lot more trophies. So we are trying to build a CV for Mikel Arteta. And unfortunately, there's a section of the fan base that are putting that before the club. And they are
100%.
believing that he is the guy and there's nobody better and he will do it. And they're so fixated on this dream that it's Arteta that delivers it. And do you know what? I wish it is and I hope it is.
I hope it
I'm
is. We've
gonna
got no
say,
choice.
yeah, got no choice. It's got to be him. But you're right in saying there's two processes, because one process is Mikel Arteta's CV building. The other process is the project of Arsenal winning trophies. And unfortunately, we're kind of failing in both because his CV's being damaged by him bottling stuff every year. And Arsenal Football Club are being damaged because they're going a season after season without any silverware. So at the moment, the process is not working. The process, in my opinion, has come to an end now. It's time to win. There's
Over
no
the
more.
line thing.
There's no more give it this more, the more type this deliver now. And for me, I think we need an elite manager to deliver. I think he's done a good job to get us to that point, and I think now we need to allow him to go and do his Brendan Rodgers and go and get a job over somewhere else and do very successful there, which I'm sure he will. And we need to go and get that elite manager, whether it's Simone Inzaghi, Carlo Ancelotti, Diego Simeone, Xabi Alonso, Thomas Tuchel after England. I don't care who it is. One of the guys with a CV that says I can win. That's what we now need. And the process for me has come to an end. And you're right, there's two processes. One of them is Mikel Arteta's CV. The other one's Arsenal winning trophies. And for me, I know what one I prefer.
And that's the thing, man. I hope we can do it with both. Me personally, I've checked out of the in or out debate. I don't think you can have a position where you're just pro Mikel Arteta, everything's the gaffer. Nor can I think it's one where, you know, you're just Mikel Arteta out now. And what I mean by that is, bit like most of the people that me and you do content with, there's people that look at it from a balanced point of view and say, you know what, like what you've just said there, like, oh, you've done this, that, the other, we can't get over the line. I don't think you're the guy. We need to try something else. I'm not referring to them, nor am I referring to the other side of that debate. But like, why do you think there's so much battle lines drawn? Like, even yesterday, I was watching your video, and it's lovely to see the back and forth with Yardman and everyone else. But why do you think like it's extreme on both sides and it's never kind of down the middle? Because for every guy that just can't stand the sight of Mikel Arteta, there's people that, let's be honest, it is a cult-like following, 100%.
Look, the Arteta in and out debate is rather silly to have at the moment because he's staying. So when people keep saying to me, would you think you should? You think, well, I think we should, but what's the point of talking about it when it ain't going to be happening?
Exactly.
Yeah? I think what we're doing here is we're talking about a scenario that is never going to happen in a million years. Now, I'm not saying Arteta's going to be here for 15 more years, but what I will say is he's going to be here for at least 15 more months. So when I look at when people say to me, we got to get him out, I don't think that we can. Yeah, the fans are more onside than more offside. Although I did a poll last night, which actually showed 75% of people would actually replace him, which is mad to me. I thought we were definitely the other way around. I thought it was more 75% wanted to keep him, but it shows what a result can do and what a season can do to you, right? And changing your opinion. There's also nothing wrong with changing your opinion. Let me give you an example.
Careful, Dan, man. We're in YouTube. You have to have the same opinion, bro.
What's it called? They think when you call the flip flop, is it they call you?
Yeah, the flip flop,
you're a flip
shake it
flop.
all about, whatever they call it.
Yeah, I think it's seen as an insult, but actually, I think it's part of the game. You know, I don't particularly think Ipswich are going to get European football, but next season, if they come up again and they get the right recruitment and they finish 7th and get Conference League, I might change my mind that they're good enough to go for Europe, and I might change my mind and be a flip flop about Ipswich. Now, this is what happens in football, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Did people think Leicester had no chance of winning the league, or did they flip flop and said they had a chance in May? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what happens with flip-flops in the fan base, man. Like, man, remain consistent until otherwise, bro. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I will say.
New info, you got to change your mind.
That's what majority of us have done with Mikel Arteta, that see things similarly to me. I think me, Turkish, Curtis, Troops, are all in a similar bracket. Lee Gunner, Kenny, Ken, DJ, these sort of guys have all seen enough, and I think they've been proving me wrong.
And I think everyone's got valid opinions with that as well.
100%. I think it's justifiable. So, look, the only thing he's done that maybe look a bit like, maybe I'm a bit wrong here, was when he got us into a title race. Because when we were coming 8th, 8th and 5th, I never saw that happening. If I'm honest with you, I thought we were going to get Champions League football, move him on and bring someone in that can go for the title. He's proven already that he could actually get us into a title race. The thing with me is with Mikel Arteta now, he's only got to prove one thing to me. He's not got to prove 17 things. He's got to deliver. That's all he's got to do. I don't care if it's a Carabao Cup, bruv. I don't care if it's an FA Cup or a double cup. I don't care if it's a Champions League or a Premier League. He needs to bring a trophy to me and say, I can do this, and you didn't believe in me. And I hope that one day happens, right? I don't see any evidence that is going to happen, because at every hurdle, he seems to just throw it away. Whether we're playing Sporting Lisbon or Villarreal in the Europa League semi-final, or whether we're going to a semi-final with PSG.
I just can't get over the line.
Whether we get to a semi-final with a domestic cup, winning 2 FA Cup games since he won it in COVID is a disgrace, and they were against Oxford and Palace, by the way. For me, it's not good enough, bruv. And I hold this club accountable, and it's not just Mikel, by the way. The owners have got to take massive L here. Massive L. They've massively let the club down in January and in the summer. Massively. So when I look at what Mikel Arteta is supposed to do in the last 5 years, I don't think it was win nothing, but just keep coming a bit better in the league. Because people keep asking me at the moment, would you swap your season for? Would you swap your season for? Do you know when people ask you that question, you've had a shit season, man. That's what it means.
Got over the line.
Nobody's asking Newcastle if they'd swap their season with Tottenham, but they're below us in the league. Yeah, but they won a Carabao Cup, so you can't ask that question. Would you rather swap your season with Aston Villa? Why aren't we asking if you want to swap it with Aston Villa? Why? Because they're out of everything and they're below us. They're asking, would you rather swap? Because we've had the crap season again, bruv. Everybody's in a final. The one team that got to their final and lost it, guess what? They won the league, and we've got to do a guard of honour at the weekend. Newcastle aren't even being considered as a Big Six club, but they've won a trophy. Palace and City are in a final. Liverpool got to their final, won the Premier League. You've got Chelsea in a Conference League final, and one of United and Spurs are going to win the Europa League and have a chance of winning the Super Cup. So I'm sorry, man. Sometimes you've got to say enough's enough. I'm at that point, and I appreciate not all Arsenal fans are. I appreciate that. I'm not saying they're wrong or they're right. All I'm saying is I have seen enough personally for me. Now, we could go on and win a treble next season. I think it's very unlikely. But
I hope it's not. We deserved it, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we need to see some form of silverware. We could do. It could be an unbelievable summer. It could be like, wow, the problem really was the board. And that's now been Bert has come in and he knows what he's doing. Edu and Vina didn't know. This guy knows. We could have an unbelievable opportunity. But I really don't think that Arsenal didn't win the league this season because they didn't have a striker. I really don't think that. I think we would have won more games.
It would have helped us a lot, but yeah, it's not the only reason.
Maybe we would have been in more competitions, but it wouldn't have guaranteed us to win a trophy because the manager and the players have got to get across the line together. And I think the mentality of this team is very weak, naive at the moment, and it needs to install some winning mentality, which is why I've just said to judges on his channel that this season, for me, the task is right now, do your thing in the summer. I'm not going to look at Arteta too much on that. Bert is going to be looked at massively. And then when you start, your first task is not just to win as many games as possible till January. It's to win that Carabao Cup. Yeah? While still being competitive in the league. Get through your Champions League group stages. We'll talk about that in January, February time. Then you look at January, you think, right, FA Cup's only just starting. We're still in that. Champions League, we're through into the new format again. Brilliant. The league, we're up there. We might be 2-3
We need to be up there. We really need to because this year was unacceptable.
And we've won the Carabao Cup. Then you go, right, one in the bag. Then you look forward to what else you can do. Can we go win the league? Can we get to the latter stages of the Champions League to give us a chance of winning it again? Can we go win the FA Cup, which we've done 14 times already? It ain't none of this, let's make sure that we can go and win one trophy because that's the only thing we've got left to win. Because every single season we've had one thing to win. Last season, it was only the Premier League. This season, it was only the Champions League. Previous seasons to that, it was only the Premier League again. Europa
a couple
League.
Years ago, Europa, and we know what happened against Chelsea.
So when I look at it, I think more pressure needs to be put on. And one thing I will say, if you're Arteta out, fair play, I'm not talking to you here. If you're Arteta in, what pressure is he under this coming season? Real talk. I'm not talking about, oh my God, get him out after the first 4 games of losing. I'm saying, what has he got to do for you? Some people will say just be competitive in the league. I don't care about trophies anymore.
Some people enjoy the journey rather than the destination.
There we go. Some people are like, I just turn up with my dad and my friends and I have a beer and I go, win, lose or draw, I'll still support
North London forever and all of that.
They sing the song and all that, right? They want the experience. Cool, that's fine. That's how they support their club. It's not a problem. Don't have a go at people like me who actually want to win stuff then. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't have a go at you for doing that. That's what you want to do, man. You enjoy it. And I hope you have a great time and hope you enjoyed doing that. Yeah, because Arsenal are a magnificent club. But the reason Arsenal are a magnificent club and the reason half of you support it is because of what we've won in our history. Not because we sing North London forever and wear red and white. Yeah. So when we look at that, we have to be realistic and say, time to deliver. And I want to know that. That's a serious question, DJ. I want to ask, what if you want him now next season? Fine. Fine by me. Cool. Enjoy it. I'm done. But if you're not, cool. But what does he have to do next season for you? Does he have to win? Does he have to win a certain trophy? Does he have to just compete? Does he have to show progress on the pitch? Does he have to score more goals? Does he have to beat a low block? What is it? Whatever it is in your mind that
Everything.
you'd like to see improved, there must be something.
And that's what annoys me, Dan, in that I'm actually like, I have a love-hate relationship with Mikel Arteta. As I said earlier, if I park him up and I look at him just as a manager, I agree with you that you know, the CV's getting built. I think he's got a lot of fragilities, but I admire his charisma. I admire his aura. I get onto his tactics, but I admire that. I think you've made bold decisions. I appreciate the fact that you've jumped in at the deep end and managed this club. I also appreciate that I'm not one of them fans that keep saying, oh, remember when we was back-to-back 8th and all of that. You took us out of that. You stabilized things. It's now about getting over the line. And I personally, one thing I don't get is you can't have high standards for a man and then not adhere him to those high standards. And what I mean by that is you can't say, you know, he's building this super team. He's a great gaffer. He's this, that, and the other. Not have any questions, or better yet, have excuses when he doesn't get over the line. Not have question marks about his game management, and actually finding his own solutions. Because I think anyone that looks at Arteta, and I know we're just armchair experts, he can set out a plan. I don't think we lost to PSG, but we didn't get embarrassed. He can stifle them and whatever. But in terms of in-game solutions, getting players with magic, etc., he needs to do that. And if people want to keep blaming the board, then Arteta has to go then. And what I mean by that is I'm not defending the Cronkies at all, but they could sit here and point to me, we've broken our transfer record. We've given him a lot. He spent 65 million on Kai Havertz. We gave him a job when, you know, a lot of people say, oh, who are you going to get to replace Arteta? Now, I'm not even getting into that, but Arteta was part of a coaching staff at Pep. So you can clearly find something somewhere. What I'm saying is, I don't think you can hold someone to high standards and then when things go left, hold them to mediocre standards. Had we have got to a final, we know the script, my guy, in the sense of with all the injuries and all of this he's got there. And I would also say, if he truly didn't believe he could achieve what he sets out or what we want, you would have to leave the club. I know he's getting paid 15 million a year, but if you truly believed that you couldn't get Arsenal over the line with whatever people say about the Cronkies, why the hell would you be here? It does not make sense, if I'm honest with you. And the issue with me, I know we'll go again next year and there'll be other nuances and whatnot, but we're just not getting anything set in stone. Like with the players, I think the players have reacted to adversity a lot this season, but apart from beating City and Madrid, there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing to say this was quote unquote worth it. I haven't seen the players down tools yet, and I also think we're making our own kind of mistakes. And at some point, maybe the halfway point, whenever that is with his new deal, we might ask questions. And then I look at it as a sense of, because I can't remember what you specifically said, bro, but you said something and it made me think. Do you think Arteta is rightly or wrongly left to his own devices in that the Cronkies clearly put people in certain positions? Arteta's got a lot wrong, but he's got a lot right. We're in different conversations. And in terms of, like you said, the summer or January, we don't really, well, excluding Berta, we haven't had someone that said, you know what, that's not right. You don't need Marino. You don't need Kai. We need to get a forward in. Like, do you think he's kind of left to his own devices? So we're kind of going to live or die by any successful failings on him rather than like a collective movement as a club? It's techie, man.
Let me give you an analogy, bro. If you've got your kids and you think I'm going out for the night, I'm going to trust that you're going to be all right at home on your own. You're going to have any supervision, you're not going to have any support or any help. It's decision making for yourself. And they fail when you come home and they've trashed the house, or they've come home, everyone's drunk, they're having a party with everybody. You're not going to leave them in. You're going to put somebody in charge now. That's basically what they've done, the Cronkies. They've let Arteta go and they've trusted him too much with his own devices. And I think what they need now, and I've realized, and I pray this is the case, Andrea Berta's come in to hold his hand and help him. That's what I think.
Needs that.
And he does need that, yeah. And every manager has needed that before, by the way. This isn't an amateur thing. This isn't an apprentice.
Arsene Wenger when Dean left.
Arsene Wenger needed David Dean. Look at the people that Sir Alex Ferguson had alongside
Michael Edwards at Klopp with Klopp.
Michael Edwards with Klopp. You've got Sir Alex Ferguson, who has got and has had McLaren, Phelan, Kidd, all these guys that have been their right-hand men before. They always need that decision-making, advice, sounding board, somebody told your hand to say, let's get through this together. Mikel Arteta might need that. Do you know what? This guy's got the credentials for it. In my opinion, there's an opportunity for us now to really go big in the summer. And I'm looking towards both of them to get this right. So for me, I don't think that it's a, oh my God, they've They don't trust Mikel Arteta anymore. I think what they're doing is they're giving him more help, because if they didn't trust him, they'd sack him, right? So they clearly trust him. They're just allowing him to now have
You
some
need to help
support and
them.
guidance. It's like he's got a mentor, in my opinion. You know, it's like when you're doing well in your job and they say, right, to take you to this next level, we need you to do this. But we know you might need a bit of support alongside this, so we're going to give you this mentor. I think Andrea Berta might be the mentor for Arteta in terms of the off-the-field stuff. On the pitch, he ain't going to get involved. He ain't going to say, this is where you should play so-and-so, and why don't you think about playing this different formation? That ain't his job. His job's off the pitch, and is to say, right, I'm going to deliver you what you need to get the stuff on the pitch done.
Proper
This
tools.
left winger is where you need to go and get. I'm going to sort you out this striker. This midfield option is available. We're going to get this in. This backup goalkeeper and backup defender is going to be coming into the Arsenal. That's what I need to see Andrea Berta doing. And I don't care who the names are. People keep saying to me, it has to be this name. It has to be this name. If we go and get the three names we're linked with, let's say it's Williams, Sesko, and Zubimendi, or Williams, Gyökeres, and Zubimendi, and we hit two players I've never heard of. One of them's a backup goalkeeper, backup defender. I'm cool with it for now because it's Berta. Yes, they've got
As long as they're good players, who cares?
Yeah, they're good. But if before they prove they're good, I'd have more faith because Berta's done this before. So that's kind of where I'm at with this window. I think we get 5 in. I think that's what we'll do.
Do you think we need more than 5?
Yes, but I don't think we will get more than 5. I think we will get a backup goalkeeper to replace an upgrade on Neto. Don't know who it will be. Maybe Garcia. I think we'll get a holding midfielder, which I assume will be Zubimendi. I expect us to get a versatile defender who can play centre back. I think it might be somebody like Harto or Howson. And then, of course, Williams is looking like the guy that we want, or Jamie Gittins on the left. And then up top, Gyökeres. That's what I expect. Maybe we need another creative midfielder and a box-to-box midfielder because our midfield needs serious surgery if Partey is going.
Serious surgery.
But I don't know that we'll get those other 2 positions on top of that, bro.
Do you think Partey signing a new deal and Zubimendi coming in is enough in midfield?
If we bring in Zubimendi and Partey and Jorginho go, I think we're short again. Because Zubimendi and Rice can both play in that holding role. Rice can play in the box-to-box. Marino, I'm not sure can, but Arteta believes he can. And you got Odegaard and Nwaneri. So for me, I think what we need is, on top of that, maybe an Eze and a Reinders. On top of
especially the skill set of Reinders. I think we need a midfielder like that, if I'm honest.
That's what I think.
And then for me, it's like I was watching the PSG game. Now, I know it's not as easy as this, but Saka is one thing. It just made, obviously, you mentioned Gyökeres. We all know we need a striker. But I'm watching Saka, and I'm just thinking, fucking hell. We had no disrespect to Martinelli or Trossard, who did well off the bench, but fucking hell, we had a player that was even 50% of Bukayo Saka. Like when Liverpool were winning stuff, you had Mane and Salah. Where would we be? And I don't need to tell you or anyone in the chat how much littered with quality Paris Saint-Germain are in. I know PSG spent big money. I know City have spent big money. I know you would look at Mane and Salah where Liverpool are concerned as world-class players, which they are. But a lot of these guys, at the point of their, even Kevin De Bruyne at City, at the point of entry into their clubs, and they've gone on and done history, it's not like many of these players were bought for 100 million, 50 million, looked at as world-class. They were just smart additions. And you grab a couple of them, you've got a stronger squad. I want to ask you this as well, Dan, man, because, you know, no disrespect to you, Tom Hacks, but this seems to be like a narrative that Arsenal fans have. He said injuries and I think it means holding back without not getting anyone in January. We are just missing a couple pieces. Now, I think what he's saying there is, I think what I'm asking, do you think it's as white and black as attackers or whatever additions we need, whether it's 5 or 7 in whatever area, and then we're flying? Because I personally think that's a bit naive. I think there's a lot Arteta has to arrest on a tactical point of view. But where are you at with that narrative?
Look, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but for people that think we just need 2 players is crazy. We're losing between 9 and 12 players in the summer, either by natural wastage or by players that are being sold or players that are off loan that are coming back that need to be sold. It's crazy to think we need 2 or 3 players. Now, let's just say we need 2 players, right? I'm just going to give you 2 names. We've bought Gyökeres and we've bought Jamie Gittins. That's the summer, right? That's
good additions, but we need a lot more.
Yeah, good additions, but apparently that's all we need. Just 2. Okay, cool. So we get the left winger and the striker, and we go. Okay. We're losing Kieran Tierney, we're losing Zinchenko, we're losing Kivior, we're losing the backup goalkeeper, we're losing Partey, we're losing Jorginho, we're losing Fabi Vieira, Marquinhos, Lokonga, Tavares, the list goes on. So now all of a sudden, who's the backup goalkeeper? Well, it's Thomas Setford. Is he good enough? I don't know, but he's the backup goalkeeper now because we didn't buy one. At right back, we've got Timber and Ben White. At left back, we've got Calafiori and Lewis Skelly. Gabriel gets an injury. We've got no left centre back cover, unless you play Calafiori there, who has never played there.
Then the
For
moving part stuff starts again,
moving
like in the
parts
first
again.
leg against PSG.
Saliba gets a knock. We have to play Ben White or Timber there, moving parts again. So there's no covers at centre back. So already we're short in goal and at centre back because we haven't done anything in that window. Partey and Jorginho go. Rice plays in the 6. That's fine. Rice has just got injured. Who plays in the 6 now? We haven't got anyone. Rice is then playing in the 8 and he gets a knock. We're having to play a kid at left defensive midfield. Who comes in at left-sided centre midfield? Lewis Skelly might have to. Marino might have to. Ødegaard gets a knock. Waneri's there. But Saka's locked at the same time as Ødegaard, who's playing right wing now. Because Ethan should be there, but then who plays for Ødegaard? So we're short again. Left wing, Trossard's apparently leaving. We've got Martinelli and we've got the new one we've brought in. And we've got Havertz and we've got Gyökeres, let's say. So as much as we might be good up top on the left and centre forward, we've done nothing to cover for Saka or Ødegaard, nothing to cover for Zubimendi or Rice, and nothing to cover, for Partey or Rice, and nothing to cover for Saliba, Gabriel, or in goal. So, people, we need much more than 2 or 3. Come on, wake up.
We need a lot. We need a lot more, man. Like, I don't think we're gonna sign 6 or 7, but
no,
we need quantity and we need quality. It's intercepted. We need a left wing or another wide option. A striker is a must. A centre mid is a must because, again, I don't think we did amazing against PSG in the second leg. Clearly, we didn't go through. But is there any coincidence that we've pressed a lot better? We've kept them under a bit more sustained pressure where Partey wasn't amazing back in that 6, Rice back in the 8, Marino is doing well up front, back up front. We need depth. We need either depth so that when players are evidently missing, the absence and the drop-off isn't too much. And when these players are having bad games or losing form, they can get us out of jail because although I think Arteta can go up the levels tactically, a lot of these players need to buck up their form. As we all know, across a Premier League season and at times in the knockout stage of cups, you're going to be shit. Things are going to go wrong. You just need players to bail you out. And I think this season needs to kind of serve as kind of like food for thought for the whole team, man. I'm tired. I understand and I appreciate, the journey, but I think this team is good enough to give more of an arcs of winning trophies than it is, especially with the Premier League. The amount of points we've dropped, the amount of draws, the amount of goals we've conceded from set pieces, we've either stagnated or regressed. And I know people will fight me for that opinion. My opinion, whatever you think, you can have that. But that neither are in the direction of where we want to go, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot, man. I say this more so when it's Dan's turn for me to be on his channel. In that, I think we're our own best friends at times, and I also think we're our own worst enemies, man. I just want to see us actually have the tools, and that's why I asked you at the start. I feel sorry for the players, whether I rate them or not, because I think they've given it all they can. Then I feel sorry for the fans and the players. Then everybody else, you're in it. I'm past the point of, depending on whatever narrative you want to fall on, the board are not giving Arteta what he wants. Arteta was offered stuff. Anyone who's got any say in terms of recruitment coming into this club and not, it's your business. As I always say, if you get in trouble when you're younger at your grandma's house, you're playing with your cousins, everyone's getting slaps. Nobody's getting asked who did what. That's where I'm at now. I can't be held accountable for what the club are doing in the offices because we're not there. I just want to feel on the weekend that we have everything that we can go forward with, man. I don't know, Dan, man. I want to ask you as well, lastly, on the Champions League, like, obviously we want to be in the semi-finals again, but like, do you think we'll be in the semi-finals anytime soon in the Champs?
Ask me when the summer window shuts, bruv, because that is massive. That is massive. I do think we'll have a big summer. I don't know how many players we'll get, and I don't know how much we'll spend. But if I was to have a guess, I would say we'll bring in 5 players and probably spend close to 250. Because I think that's what is needed. When the manager comes out and says we're going to have a big summer, I feel personally there's an opportunity for us to have a big summer. However, the manager has lied before, or he's got things wrong before, or he said things would happen when they didn't. So it's very difficult, if I'm honest with you. I personally believe we'll have a big summer. I personally do believe players have got to come in. I think there'll be an overhaul as well. So that's where I'm at, bruv. Andrea Berta must be feeling like, man, this is a bit harsh that I'm under pressure. But at the same time, there needs to be an element of pressure. Just don't expect miracles. This guy's not going to come in and bring in like the equivalents of Zidane's and Ronaldinho's to Arsenal.
I hope he can, but yeah,
it would be amazing if he did. But if he finds the next Zidane and Ronaldinho, let's hope he can do that. But right now, I want to see players that are ready now. And if there's a couple I haven't heard of that he thinks are going to be good squad players, fine by me. But I want to be seeing that strength, that first 11 strengthened now. Do you know what I mean? I want to go into that like knowing that that first 11 is our best first 11, that everybody can name it. Yeah. That if it's Raya in goal, we know it. Timber at right back, Saliba, Gabriel, we know who that left back is. If you think it should be Skelly, cool, Calafiori, cool, but we know who that left back is if you bring one in. Yeah. We know that the number 6 is going to be Rice or Zubamendi. We know the number 8 is going to be Rice or Reinders. We know the number 10 is going to be Erdegaard or whoever it be. And then at the front three, we know it's Saka and whoever our left winger and striker
2
is.
spots up for debate,
Yeah,
really.
I think there could be more than 2. I think the left wing and the central striker is definite, and I think that the left 8 role needs looking at, and I think that the left back role needs looking at, if I'm honest, because if that is going to be Lewis Skelly, who I think has been brilliant, he can get caught out. If it is going to be Rice, he doesn't always play amazing at box to box. If it is going to be a left winger like Williams, he's got to deliver and get the creativity and goals and assists. If it's going to be Erdegaard in that 10, he needs to play better. And if it's going to be a striker, he needs to be delivering. So there's 4 or 5 positions that I think are definitely talking points. I think the other 5 or 6 are definites. I think, you know, Gabriel, Saliba, we know. Timber, we know. Raya, we know. I think Saka, we know. But other than that, I think there's 5 or 6 that you would say could be upgrade on them. For me, I like Rice in the 6. A lot of people don't. They like him in the 8.
I can't lie. I think I've been converted then, you know. I get it now.
Yeah. So,
like I'd say PSG games, I don't really want to see Rice in the 6. I can see why he plays 8. I need him to nick the ball out of the field. But I agree with you, you know, whether he's going to be an 8 or a 6, great. For me, I just think we need to go back to basics beyond the obvious. Like, I want a striker who scores goals. Fair enough, Arteta, and but understanding the modern day strikers got to drop deep, left, right, all of that sort of stuff. But the striker needs to score goals. The winger needs to be a consistent threat taking people on, because that can affect in a positive way our statistics. Our approach in games, because teams have to think about Saka, and certain man can't just run forward because Saka's there. I kind of want that. I'd love a 6, to be fair. I'd love an 8 who can dictate the tempo of the game if Rice is going to keep playing there. Ultimately, I just want different options, man. And I want to stop talking about the same things. Like, I got all the time in the world for Trossard or Martinelli, but I'm not surprised that you lot miss chances. I'm not surprised that Marino and Havertz are doing the thing, but you're not necessarily the striker. I think everything in the summer has to make sense. And I don't think Berta and Arteta are going to agree on everything. They're going to butt heads. And I think we need that. I genuinely think we need that. I think we've stabled the ship. We fucked about now where we've had opportunities to win certain things. But now it's about getting over the line, and it's about making sense. I don't even know if, God forbid, if this time next year, if the same things happen, if the manager's going to get sacked or whatever. I think there's internal pressure that Arteta's putting on himself and the players. I don't think there's pressure. I think there's pressure from people like us, but I don't think there's pressure internally. At the end of the day, he signed a new deal. Bert has just come in. His coach has signed a new deal. So I kind of just want to get away. I want to just get away from that, man. I wanted to ask you as well, yeah, because I saw it on your platform, like when everyone was debating, like if Spurs City / United, if City / Spurs or United win a trophy, I have to ask you, like, have they had a more successful season than us? You've probably been asked a million times.
Do you know, I haven't been asked a million times.
Fair enough.
And I have been asked by text, but not really on a platform. They have had a more successful season than us. Yeah, they have. Have they had a better season in terms of what they've competed in and how they've looked as a football team and how they've played? I would say absolutely not. They've been awful to watch. They've been terrible domestically. But unfortunately, bruv, they can hold a trophy up. Now, the frustrating
thing holding our hands up for corners, man. I saw that tweet. It broke my heart.
Yeah. I mean, I see everyone with a trophy in their hand, all the managers, and then Arteta had a cup of tea in his hand, which, you know, is one of those. So look, I'm in the position where I'm thinking, yes, they would have. However, I've got to be honest, bro. I just don't care. Man United need to win that Europa League because Tottenham will be insufferable. And it doesn't bother me that they get Champions League football from it. It bothers me that they win something from it. They can lift something finally. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at, man. We've had a bad season. People will say we've had a good season because we come second. Then we got to 275.
This comment said they've had a more successful season, not a better one, to age your point then.
I agree with Jadon. I think they've had a more successful season because they're lifting something. Yeah. And for me, bro, I've got to be real. This season, it really bugs me that there are the majority of teams around us that have the potential to lift silverware apart from us. And what really bugs me on top of that is that all of them have actually domestically been worse than us.
Been shit, man.
You know what I'm saying? So Liverpool, they got to a final, but
Yeah,
they don't
credit
really
Liverpool
lost
and
because they got a
Newcastle, to be
guard of
fair.
honour coming. Yeah, they've won the Premier League. But Manchester City have been god awful and they're potentially winning. Palace can't even get in the top half. They could win something. Newcastle can't finish above us yet. They probably will, but they can't at the moment. They've won something and lifted something. Chelsea are going to lift something and they look horrendous. And then you've got Tottenham or United that are just going to lift one Europa. They're going to have a chance of going in the Super Cup as well. So I get frustrated with that because they're lifting stuff instead of us. And that is what frustrates the hell out of me, bro, because I just felt like do you know one of Mikel's biggest regrets, I think, is not taking domestic cups more seriously after winning one. Because if you
Because you
win
need to
the
win
FA
something
Cup,
when you're throwing them away, quote unquote.
and you need to install winning mentality in the side, man.
Exactly.
Because, like, do you think we'd be in this scenario now if Mikel would have looked back at his last 5 years and gone, I ain't won that Prem and that Champs, but at least I've got 4 League Cups and FA Cups.
People would be off your back slightly. The goalposts would move, but they'll
100%.
allow you a bit.
It'd be like, do you know what, Mikel? We want the majors, but fair play. You've got very, very close in semis and at second place. And at least you've picked up Carabaos and League Cups along the way. This guy's had 5 years where he's dumped us out of every competition. And do you know what? It's been Europa Leagues on top of Champions Leagues and League Cups and FA Cups, as well as Premier League titles. There's 5 competitions he had the chance of winning by now. And every single season he's failed. So I don't really care. I want Man United to win that Europa League.
1,000,000%. Postecoglou's comments are so wavy. I normally win stuff in my second year. If he does it, fair enough. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want that.
100%. And look, Spurs will be insufferable. I'm actually on the side of the fence of I don't care how easy it is to win. They still would have won it.
They
Same
still
with
done
the
it.
Conference League. You're in it. Only beat the teams in front of you. Lift the trophy at the end of it. They won't look back in history and go, oh, Spurs, did they won the Europa League in 2025? Oh, Man United did. Oh, was that the easy time when everyone dumps out the comp? They won't do that. They'll just say, yeah, Man United, move on.
The DVDs won't mention league positions.
It won't mention league positions. It won't mention who they beat. It won't mention no teams from the Champions League dropped into it. It will just say they have won it. And let's be real. I think we're trying to clutch at straws a bit. They have managed to beat who's in front of them, and they've got themselves to a final.
And I think United are technically unbeaten. If they they need to go unbeaten now. But if they go unbeaten in the Europa League, fair enough. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, they're in it. They might as well win it. And one thing I'll give United, it's like they always gate crash a party. They won the FA Cup. That's the whole reason they're in the Europa League. Their league's been a mess. They really are the Red Devils. They're finding a way to, and I hope win the Europa League. I see some people in the chat. Everyone's allowed an opinion. Me as an Arsenal fan, if you lot want Spurs to win that Europa League, fair enough. But I think you're a bit scary. It's like when we got into that territory where people wanted Spurs to beat City. I don't care how it goes. I'm not really on that. So yeah, man. It's at the end of the day, we've had opportunities. We've not done it. We've not got over the line. If we're meant to be this good and have these great players and the combined 11s, we need to win something. As Dan kind of went into, of course, the goalposts are going to move. Had we have won a League Cup or an FA Cup, it's not the majors. If we win one Prem, you ain't retained it. But fundamentally, you've won. It's like with the Invincibles. People say 12 draws like it's meant to mean anything. But you can criticize the draws. We were unbeaten. It's just about making history. And I don't know, man. Again, before I kind of close up then and get into a couple of these tabs here, do you think like we're gonna struggle to convince players like because of how the season's played out? Like the previous years, obviously we've not won, but it's been a bit more exciting. This year it feels like we started poorly in the summer market, as you said, and we just chugged along, had some good moments, but ultimately, yeah, we're battered and bruised. Like we got Anfield at the weekend and no one really cares beyond the obvious.
It's mad. I've just literally done a pre-record with Drifty, and both of us are like, meh, this game, who cares? Just quickly, that a journey to be proud of. When was that posted, by the way?
I think yesterday, No. Well, no, to be fair, I don't know, because this was on the no context account, so it was today. But I think it must have been yesterday.
A journey to be proud of. I'm sick of that, man. Is that actually real for real? Like, what is wrong with our social media PR team, man? Honestly, it's mad. Anyway, look, do I think we'll struggle to bring in players? No. Do I think we'll struggle to keep players? No. However, we're getting towards that conversation. Because if we go another season without it, Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, Martinelli, they'll be looking, thinking, yeah, I fancy a new challenge here. This has been too long now. And there'll be players looking at Arsenal thinking, right, okay, in England, everybody's winning something but them. So that's the one I won't go to. I'll go to City and Liverpool or maybe even Newcastle because they look like they're
next 10 years. Newcastle in the Prem is my shout.
Brother, I don't think you're wrong. And this is why we need to be really
Maybe
serious
less.
about silverware now. Because people that say we've won this journey, we've had this journey, this is a journey to be proud of. Look at where we come from, 8th and 8th and 8th. If I hear
Walking the
we were
Silk
8th
Road.
one more time, we were 8th 5 years ago. Yeah, guess what? 5 years ago, Newcastle weren't even in this league, were they? So
Saka
let's
was
be
a left
real.
back.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like 5 years ago, Eddie Howe, like, you know, does Eddie Howe get this? Look at where he's got from the relegated sides. They just say Newcastle should be winning now. They've got the money. Arsenal should
Lewis
be
Skelly
winning.
was probably in primary school.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sick of looking back 5 years ago now. Yeah, he's not a novice anymore. He's not an apprenticeship. I don't know an apprenticeship that goes on for 6 years. Yeah, so it's time to deliver, bruv. Time to deliver.
Dan, I wish you was wrong, you know, but you're not, unfortunately. Arteta, off topic, he said, what do Arsenal need to do to win trophies? We're very clear about what we need to do to improve, what's in our hands to improve, and what we can do with the squad we have. And then the improvements the team will need in terms of mythology, in terms of coaching staff, in terms of department, in terms of players. And once again, to be better, we'll see at the end of the season. It will depend on what happens with a lot of players. Between you, Berta, and everyone that's involved, make sure you get it done in it, people. But with that being said, we need depth as well, as Dan has been saying, quality in terms of, you know, the areas we need to address, and in terms of obviously depth, because there's been bare injuries. I want to kind of close up with some transfer business, my boy. Would you spend 70 million on Morgan Rogers?
100%.
I'm
I
with
think
you
this
still.
guy's an absolute baller. I've got a lot of time for him, and I know there's a bit of English tax on that, but I'd take it. If we're paying 65 for Havertz, this guy's worth 70. Absolutely 100%. I like Reinders, and I feel like he's probably more of a player that we need in terms of the box to box. I think Morgan Rogers is definitely more of a 10, and I think Erdegaard can play in that 8. Maybe that's a great shout. I think this guy is an absolute baller, and I think he's definitely good enough, mate. I'm a big fan, and he was on my list. The problem I've got is, okay, let me give you this. I'd rather sign Morgan Rogers for 70 than Morgan Gibbs-White for 70. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Morgan Rogers is going to be absolutely electric, mate. I
He's
think he's a
done it in the
fantastic player.
champs.
Fantastic player. So I'm taking him, man, all day long. I hope that's true.
I hope it's true as well. I don't know how legit football transfers is, but I've come to accept, or what I'm believing anyways, in the modern day. Obviously, Odegaard's a bit of a throwback, creative kind of guy, but then he's not in the way Arteta's got him. I'm kind of thinking, if I want anything to creativity and stuff, it's all about the dynamic runners. Now, obviously, this guy's got dribbling skills, goals, the personality. I think you need these kind of eights. And I just imagine just the option of him and Rice together, potentially, and other players in the mix, it could be great. And 70 million, it's probably the new 40 million in today's day and age. I don't think we're getting him. I think the vast majority of this is because apparently Aston Villa have to sell someone before the 30th of June with PSR. We always hear them rumours. We heard that about Newcastle. There's probably several players they'll let go before Morgan Rogers. But if it could happen, I'd be for it. I know your feelings on Gyökeres. Apparently, he's our first choice target. Apparently, Real Madrid have got involved. Does it scare you?
I think United, Madrid, Barcelona are all going to
well.
be sniffing around him because obviously he's a number 9 that a lot of clubs want. Chelsea are probably in that bracket as well. I think it depends how the season finishes. If United win the Europa League, they get Champions League, he might be more tempted with Amorim being there. Chelsea obviously win a trophy. I'm not too sure. Without Champions League, they'd be interested. I think Arsenal are in pole position from what we hear with Berta being keen, but you never quite know the truth. He's my number 1 because Isak isn't available.
What
If
linked
I'm
with
honest
him
with
as
you,
well?
well, look, Isak's obviously the choice that we want, but he's unobtainable, bruv. He ain't going to go anywhere. I think, if you're looking at 70 for Rodgers, you'll be looking at 170 for Isak. So I don't see that's realistic. I think Gyökeres is the guy we've got to get, bruv.
I'm with you with that. Like, and then I'll actually go one further now. You know what? Personally, I've gone past the point. I like Gyökeres. Isak would be the dream target, but that's a dream. I don't necessarily want Sesko, but I do think he's a lot better than people make out. And if we got Gyökeres and Sesko, I'd be for that. But I'm past the point now. Whether it's Gyökeres, Isak, Sesko, Joe Blogs, get me my striker, and I'll criticize and praise and say any concerns then. I need to see a number 9. Marino, you've done your thing. Havertz, you've actually been one of our top goal scorers. But everything going into next season needs to make sense. Like, we need the striker and other options. And that's where I'm at. I hope we get him. I don't know with Champions League football for Man United how that flips things. They've been linked with Cunha as well. What do you make of the Cunha thing? Because apparently we're talks of us hijacking that as well.
I don't see it happening because I think United are in advanced talks, and I also don't think it happens because there's this kind of attitude problem that he has, and I just don't think Arteta's for that, bruv, if I'm honest. I like Cunha. I personally prefer Eze, but I think Cunha would be a very good player too. So, yeah, I don't see that one happening. I think he'll probably go to Man United, Cunha.
Do you think we get Zubimendi? Everyone and their nan is saying he's expected to be confirmed in the coming weeks.
Look, all I can do is believe reports, and there's a lot of very reliable sources that people tell me that he's done. So I expect him to be in an Arsenal shirt. I expect that to be the first signing we make, and I think by the first day of the window, I think he'll be announced as in advanced talks and pretty much coming within the first few days of the window, because everyone keeps saying it's done.
Did you take Kevin De Bruyne? Allegedly, Arteta is pushing to sign De Bruyne as a free agent this summer.
I think that'd be incredibly risky. I love De Bruyne as a player. I think what he's done in the Prem is absolutely unbelievable legacy he's left, but I don't think that he's going to come to Arsenal and for what, 380,000
A lot
pounds
of
a
money.
week. It ain't going to be for me, man. I'd rather go and get a Eze or Cunha or Alex Baena as our attacking midfielder if we're looking at one.
I mean, yeah, like you said there, in terms of being a Premier League legend, experience, all of that, the Kevin De Bruyne you'd look on YouTube, it would make sense, but you can't stay fit. Plus the Arsenal tax of not staying fit. You're not the Kevin De Bruyne you once was, and the finances, because whether it's keeping Partey, bringing in big players, there's a lot of players that need to go that are on big wages, but there's no guarantee we are going to sell them. So there's a lot to do. I just think this is paper talk. From Kevin De Bruyne has been linked with Napoli and Liverpool and us. You've done it all in the Prem. You've won it all. Go and enjoy the nice weather in Italy. Go to America and try a new experience. Go get yourself paid in Saudi, man. Like, do your thing, Kevin. But I don't know, man. Odegaard's expected to be our captain next season. I know you probably don't want to speak about this, but like, where you at with the Capitano, man?
Nah, I'd take it off of him. He won't, but I would. And I'll give it to Gabriel or Rice. I personally believe that he's shown absolutely zero leadership qualities or skills, and he has zero influence on the team. He doesn't go up to any of the players when they need a word or a shoulder. I don't believe that he should be anywhere near the armband, and personally, I would strip it off him. But he won't. He will keep it.
There's nothing else I can say, man. Like, that's why I'm happy to have asked someone else. Would you make of this getting stuff? Apparently, us and Chelsea in the fight for him.
If I had a choice between Nico Williams and Jamie Gittins, I'd take Jamie Gittins. I personally believe he's got more to his all-round game. I've been very disappointed with Nico Williams when I've watched him. The only reasons I've
Apparently,
watched
he's got an injury.
he is injured at the moment. I think his brother is as well. I would not take him because of what I've seen, and I can only go by the eye test. Against Spain, I thought, oh, this guy's lighting it up. He looks brilliant. Jamie Gittins, I actually think, has been very good for
British
Dortmund.
too.
He's been excellent. British, looks very good. 20 years old. He's a player that a lot of people will say is a project player, but I don't see any other left wingers, if I'm honest with you. Kvaratskhelia was the one I wanted, and he showed why the other night. Yeah, that's where I'm at with left wingers. I think Jamie Gittins would be a good shout. Personally, I'm still on the Ademola Lookman vibe. I think he'd be a good signing for us, but I do think that Jamie Gittins is more probably realistic. I think Nico Williams is the one Arteta wants, but I don't know if this release clause is going to be a thing, because I think he might want to stay in Spain, bruv.
And I think he might want to stay in Spain. You know, you see rumors. I don't believe it for what it's worth, but rumors as high as he wants 400 grand a week and his wage is already high. He's injured at the moment. There's reports he might, at the end of the season, have to have a sports hernia. Obviously, I don't know. 1 minute you want to try join a Prem team, allegedly. Then you want to go Barca. Then you want to stay at Bilbao. I'm all for it. But what I want to see this season, and this is why I'm kind of happy with Berta, is it seems like we are linked with a lot of players. Every now and again, we hone in on one, whether that's players that have come in or at the moment it appears Gyökeres, etc. And if we get Zubimendi, and if we get them, cool, no worries, that's great. If we don't, I don't want to hear we tried. Make sure there's an ability to pivot. If Nico Williams is the one you want, go out there and do it. If not, bring in this Gittins fella, because we're not going to buy proven elite level players. We might as well get players that we believe can make that, with a bit of training, that intermediate step. Speaking of left wingers, yeah, allegedly Arsenal prepared to sell Martinelli this summer as part of a major overhaul. Where you at with that? This is one where I'm going to be biased, Dan, man. I know I can't let him go, man. I can't.
I like Martinelli. Always have liked Martinelli. I don't think he's developed into the player we wanted him to. At 23, 24 now, he's not the player I thought he would be. However, if there was a bid that come in the region of £70 million,
then I'd have to let him go.
Say no. Do you know what I'm saying? If it gets at 25, you keep him. 30s, you keep him. If it's like, oh my God, we have to accept this, I just don't think anyone's paying that money, brother, if I'm honest with you. So I think he'll probably stay, if I'm honest. I don't know that he'll sign a new long-term contract with us.
He's on 190 grand a week, man.
Exactly. So I think he'll probably stay. And then maybe next summer, I mean, I would sell him in the summer if he doesn't want to sign a new deal. I'll say that. But I don't know that we will do that. I think we'll keep him and then look at what happens with his career this season, come in and look in the summer. That's what I think.
It's a shame, man, because you started so positively against PSG. But
We did.
honestly, I think it's the same thing with Martinelli and Trossard in that I think you lot are squad players. Like we see some good periods, some bad moments, but we're live or dying by you. And again, I'm just a naive fan, but it seems like we take players who should be on the peripheral of things, make them squad players. We take squad players and make them first team regulars. And all across the course of a season, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, they're amazing. But when we need to get over the line, it's not that. It's like when we had Giroud to replace Van Persie. Clearly, you've seen Giroud succeed at Chelsea, and obviously in the French side as kind of like a facilitative figure. But we make you the 20 goal, striker. This is where we need to get away from. And I don't mean that in a disingenuous way. If Martinelli was doing 50% of what Saka is doing, or if it was like the 2022-23 season where we don't know who's got the higher potential, then it is what it is. But it's adapt to the survivor. I was having this debate with a friend, unpopular opinion, but next season will kind of be the fourth season that we've been talked about of winning stuff, right? 2025-26 for those listening. I honestly think had in the last 3 years, including now, prior to the season, next season, if we won a couple Prems and a champs or whatever, I still think maybe the sentiment would be different. I still think we'd be feeling this sort of same way, or better yet, the club would have to do certain things that they're going to do this summer regardless, because 3 years entering a fourth is a long period. You know, some players that were on the bench are regulars, some players that were first names on the team sheet. There's been shifting dynamics. So it'll be interesting. I hear you on the Martinelli thing. Just before we went live, you know, reports in Italy claim that Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta has identified Milan star Rafael Leao as a potential target for the summer transfer window. Where are you at with him? Because fuck it, do it at this point for me.
Yeah, me and Curtis disagree with on this one. You and Curtis are on the same wave. I'm not. I'm actually not a massive lover of Rafael Leao.
Neither am I, but just spend the piece, man. That's where I'm at. They also turn me crazy, bro. Just spend the piece, man.
We know he's better than what we got. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
But, maybe we can get something out of him, but I don't know that he's the guy that I would choose, and I think it'd be a lot of money.
A shitload of money.
You know, if I'm honest with you, this might sound a crazy take, and some people might laugh at this. I think I'd rather go for someone like Semenyo than Rafael Leao.
Oh, Dan.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mbeumo. I'm not convinced on Semenyo. I like him.
Mbeumo I like, but Mbeumo is more of a right winger, isn't he? Left winger, I would go with, if I had to pick someone in the Prem, then I think I'd go with him. I'm not a lover of Semenyo, but I think it would be less of a risk than a massive load of money on Rafael Leao. Personally.
They're both going to cost a shitload, man. They're saying 70 for Semenyo. Like, this is where Arsenal, we just got to spend the bread, man.
Money. I wouldn't pay that much for Semenyo. I thought we'd probably get him for 45 or something. I didn't think we'd get him for that much.
Do it. If you can do that, do it.
But yeah, I mean, this is the problem with left wingers, man. That was why Kvaratskhelia was an absolute steal for 63. Because all these guys are going to be more than that. They're not going to be nowhere near as good as him, and they're going to be much more. So I look at Mitoma, and I look at Semenyo, and I look at, you know, even Eze, to be fair to him, could play on the left. I'd do that. I think that'd be a good shout. You know, Nico Williams, 50 million release clause. You've got Gittins, you've got Lookman. None of these players are guaranteed to be 100 levels ahead of Martinelli, bruv. So we'll see.
This is the thing, man. Like, we've got a lot to do. I'm happy I'm not better. Happy I'm an armchair expert, but it's just sad, man, that there's not a reality where we're going into the Liverpool game. Me and you are having conversations about, is the Prem going to be won or lost on Sunday? We're not bullish about Inter Milan. We're not, you know, still excited about being in the FA Cup final or a league final. All we've got is sitting on our hands and, you know, what could have been really and truly. And I understand the fans that are romantic and every bit of adversity takes you to the other level. I do agree with that to the same point. But then where probably I align with Dan is I'm quite a romantic football lover. But at the end of the day, it's sink or swim. It's another year of explaining. And fundamentally, we've let ourselves down. We've really let ourselves down over these 3 years, man. I don't think anybody is asking anything of this team that they haven't shown us a glimpse of. Fair enough. If we were 8th and all of that, we'd still be bitching and crying, but no one be sitting here talking about Prems or whatever. They flirted with it. It's about getting over the line, man. We'll have to see. Dan, what content you got to come out, man? As usual, it's been great. And I think, you know what, in a weird way, talking to you, I feel a lot more upbeat about Arsenal. There's nothing to be upbeat about, but it's like a therapy session, my boy. What content you got to come out, man?
It's been good therapy, man. It's been needed as well. Look, I've just dropped a clip from last night's show, which was heated, with Yardman,
very heated.
Gal. I mean, all four of them were literally going at it. It's normally Lee Gal, when you put Yardman and Stricto with Lee and Gal, it's carnage, mate. So
you're like Vince McMahon, man, in the WWE, the way you assemble these things. Yesterday was legendary, man. Like,
it was a lit show, lit stream, and so go check that one out, people, on Football's 12th Man. And Yeah, I literally dropped it about an hour or two, about 2 hours ago, and yeah, people have seemed to be entertained and enjoying it. So, yeah, go and have some fun over there, man. That's it for me today. I think though, I might have a show later, but yeah, come check me out, man. Football's 12, man. Thanks for having me, DG.
Nah, man, you know you're part of the family here. We're back on Dan's platform next week. I know he said that he's only dropped one video, but I'm pretty sure because of the man's work rate, there's probably a million others you haven't watched. Your Fridays are sorted. I'm telling you, people, whether it's the cut up snippet or I would actually say, don't watch that. Go watch the full stream of him. Well, yeah, obviously Dan's there, but Lee's there, Stricto's there, Yardman's there, Gal's there, and it almost show. Well, it does show different side of the fan bases. Above all, nobody's right, no one's wrong, but it's fucking gold. Go get a few hot drinks or cold drinks, especially because of the weather. Taking Dan, make sure you're subscribing to Dan. His stuff's in the title because he's flirting with 400k. 400k. Apologies, I wish for 40k. Yeah, man, go do that. Support that. Let us know your thoughts. I'm pretty sure you lot disagree with a lot of what we've said in this last hour and 11 minutes. Dan, man, go enjoy your food in the sun, as you said earlier, my boy. In a bit, man. People,
Love, man.
done no. Save.
Always